Yeah. Yeah. Come and never sleep on me. Eyes on my chain, 숙여 너의 고개를 what you looking at fool. 너의 눈 허리 멍청했고 find your comfort from another yeah. I go low like undercover yeah. Wanna know my name 죽지 않은 일은 위에 부어버려 기름 gas. You can't even guess me cause I'm baby. high low로 확실해 not like maybe. Devil let me welcome to my palace. 찾지 않아 Alice. You just keep on wonder. You just keep on wonder. 찾지 않아 Alice. 버려 너의 memory. I just pop a bin. Danny have been. 나는 걸어 Boeing 747. I get weak.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jonathan Lynham back with wife Michelle Lynham, and I got my boy Colton Flatt and Caleb Mabry, and together we are For Your Eyes Only. Actually, that's my channel name. We are For Your Ears Only, a Bondcast, and you know, James Bond in the Bible Belt. That's what we are. Anyway, so before we get started on this episode, which we go over Quantum of Solace, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, okay? And we're at 195 subscribers. We need 5 more, and we'll make 200. So if you're listening to this and you like us, or even if you don't like us, subscribe, okay?
And share.
And share.
Yeah, even if you hate us, just hit that like button, man. Subscribe.
Your Aunt Kathy.
Send it to your Aunt Kathy.
Shout
Send
out
it
on
to Patty.
I like to think we all have an Aunt Kathy.
I got an Aunt B, which is an Andy Griffith reference.
So anyway, Quantum of Solace. So my boy Colton Flatt, what'd you think about it?
So the first time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. Thought it was an entertaining film. This most recent time I watched it, still a good film. It didn't hold my attention, and I think that's my fault. So I'm not going to be biased towards the film. I am going to give it a try to give it a fair shake.
Caleb Mabry.
I like this movie. I've gone back and forth with this movie. When I was a kid and watched it in theaters in 2008. Is that right? Is that when it came out? I loved it. And then all the reviews came out and everybody told me to hate it. So I hated it and then kind of formed my own opinion as an adult. And I think a lot of people have come around to liking this movie.
Yeah. And Michelle, what about you?
I think it's solid. I mean, I've watched it 2 times in the last 2 days, looking for anything that I just didn't understand or wasn't explained clearly, and I feel like I got all my answers. So I think it's pretty solid.
So I saw it in theaters, 2008, just like Caleb did. My Uncle Steve actually took me to see it. Shout out Uncle Steve.
That's
Shout out Uncle
Kathy's
Steve.
husband, right?
That's Aunt Kathy's husband. We actually saw them last night. They came up and we went out to eat. But
Did you tell her about the shout out Aunt Kathy?
oh yeah. Oh, she knows about it. She knows
Okay, cool.
my dad really likes it when you do that, by the way.
Nice.
But
Shout out Aunt Kathy.
But anyway, I saw this movie when it came out in theaters, and I liked it. I really did. And I never understood why people hated this movie. Like, I never got what was so bad about it. Still, to this day, I don't.
I get it because it's coming off Casino Royale. I think because that's a really hard movie to follow up. And dude, like, how do you top it? And 2, like, how do you live up to it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing going against it, honestly.
So just getting started, this the pre-title sequence, of course, we don't get a gun barrel at the start of the movie. But the pre-title sequence, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, it is just throws you right in there. You know, there's no slow opening. You're just right in the middle of the action, aren't you? And this is picking up what, an hour after Casino Royale, after Bond gets Mr. White.
Throws him in the car.
Yeah, throws him in the car.
It's my favorite part of the film. If that doesn't sound lame, it is just awesome.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts, and it's one of the few scenes where this editing style kind of works.
Yeah, like I don't hate the editing as much as some people do. Like there are some of the fight scenes in the movie that, I mean, and this is foreshadowing, or I don't even know if I'd say foreshadowing, it's just spoiling. But the fight between Dominic Green and Bond later, like at the last part of the movie, like I think the editing actually helps that fight because I mean it just brutal. You know,
Yes.
I think it was a great fight.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that.
but
But those two scenes, the chase scene and that fight, are really the only two instances where it works for me.
well, of course, you know the whole reason we're doing this editing was because the Bourne Identity.
Yeah.
You know, that's really the movie that I guess got all that going. Is that
Yeah.
what y'all think? I mean, that's
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
yeah. Like
After the, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I really do think that this is by far the most Bourne inspired James Bond movie ever. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
from the editing down to even parts of the plot with, you know, Bond's agency coming after him, kind of like in the Bourne movies, the way that the CIA would come after Jason Bourne. Well, that's what happens in this movie to Bond. So
How would you guys have felt if one of the plot threads in this movie was Bond kind of like he like lost his memory and kind of like just trying to pick up clues, figure out who he is, kind of like Bourne.
well,
I think that would have just been throwing it completely out the window.
in the novel, You Only Live Twice. That's what happens at the end of that novel is Bond gets amnesia.
You're right. I forgot about that.
That's actually I've read that's where Robert Ludnum or Ludnum, however you say his name, that's where he got the idea of the Bourne Identity. Is from reading that. Now that's just what I've read. I don't know if that's a fact, but
Very well could be.
yeah. But anyway, back to Quantum of Solace. Yeah, this whole little first part, I really do like the this chase. It's pretty brutal too. And we get to see a lot of car gymnastics, you know. We get to see Bond doing some drive-by shooting as well. You see some cops dying as well, you know. So already it's a lot more brutal than your average run-of-the-mill James Bond movie. So one of my favorite, I mean, this is not just in this movie, favorite of all scenes of Bond is whenever he opens the trunk up to get Mr. White and he says, "It's time to get out." Like I just love that. I think it's great.
Why is there a freeze frame there?
I wondered that too.
It's not. It doesn't really take away from the scene or the movie overall. It's just kind of. It's just
Jarring.
there. No, it's not even jarring. It's an odd choice.
But I'm going to say something that now I think we've all talked about this on here. I think we are similar opinion on this, but I happen to really like the Jack White and Alicia Keys song here.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah, I do too.
I know a lot of Bond fans hate it, but like I actually am quite a fan of it.
I think it's one of the I love this one. I think it's one of the best in my opinion.
Up until about an hour ago, it was still stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I just listened to it 20 minutes ago. We were building the
No,
basket.
no, you didn't. You've been listening to the Living Daylights
Living
on
Daylights.
repeat, dude.
So I listened to the Living Daylights, and then I listened to this song, another way to die. Right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then right after that, You Know My Name came on. So I listened to all three, building the basketball goal
And then you listen to the Living Daylights again
for the 15th time.
So what about you?
I liked it. I picked a favorite line from the song. It was, "Someone that you think that you can trust is just another way to die."
It's true.
Was that the whole Daniel Craig era?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm guessing that's supposed to be referring to Vesper.
Yeah.
Is that what?
You could put that to a lot
Yeah.
of people, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, after the pre-title sequence, we're in Siena, Italy, and we get
You're bouncing your camera.
no sorry. So we're in Siena, Italy, and we get Bond and M going to interrogate Mr. White. So what do y'all think about Mr. White as a character? Oh, we lost Caleb. He'll be back on. He always does.
Um, I think he is a fine actor. Like he does the part justice. The character really does well at alluding to things. I'm sure it's just because that's how he was written, but like he portrays that well. So I don't have any complaints about the character. What do you think, John?
I love Mr. White, man. I really do. Um, I actually I was glad he came back later
Yeah.
on. I mean, spoiler alert for anybody who's not. I mean, if you're watching this, you've seen all the Bond movies probably, but I like when he came back Inspector. I did not expect to ever see this character again, like ever. Um, but you know, we actually see that Mr. White has quite a lot to do with, you know, Bond's future life. But so anyway, he says that we have people everywhere, which indeed they do in the room that they're in right there.
Which
So we
is
get the turncoat
super ironic.
MI6 agent. Go ahead. What?
I said it's super ironic. Like
Yeah.
couldn't have been any better timing.
It will get the turncoat MI6 agent Mitchell, who shoots one of the other MI6 guards. And Michelle brought this up last night whenever we were watching the movie. Of course, Mitchell would know that Bond was the most dangerous person in that room. He would have been the first person, right?
Yeah, he should have been the primary target when he pulled his gun, but he wasn't. So
Okay, so I'm spacing on the whole scene now. But was Bond even armed at that point?
I think so. I think Bond had his PPK with him.
Okay. I was just wondering, I didn't know if he had to like turn his gun in while that whole section was happening. If he had been unarmed, it would have made sense for the other person to shoot that one. But if Bond was armed, that's just stupid.
You all right, Caleb?
I'm back.
Good to have you back, bud.
Y'all
I didn't know
still,
you left.
are y'all still talking about Quantum of Solace?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
talking about Mr. White.
Yeah. Don't bleed to death.
Yeah, don't bleed to death.
I love that. I love that line.
So this part, like, and a lot of people don't like the director of this movie. I mean, he's all right, but like I think some of the choices he made was a little bit pretentious. Like this whole racing event that he's got going on at the same time, I think that is so dumb. Like
it's just kind of useless.
it really is useless. Like, because I remember the first time I watched the movie. Well, actually, no, it wasn't the first time I watched the movie because I watched it in theaters. But like, it was one of the times I viewed it at my home. I was like, it just kind of leaves you with, why was that even in there? Like, there is no payoff to it, like other than like them, coming up out of that grate and running across, the track. That's about it. Like,
Can I give you an opposing opinion?
yes.
So it gives set dressing, like the racing event sets, it makes it feel like it's in a foreign country, which it is, but also it gives you all the people. That way you've got the chase through the crowd, you have the people that are collateral damage, and you have it sets up the cool chase scene. So like it's not just a boring regular like Tom Cruise race down a street after another guy.
Okay.
I agree. I agree. My issue is why did they focus on it so much? We don't really need the
Jockeys.
jockeys, the crowd. I mean,
It's the bullfighting from On Your
Mhm.
Majesty's Secret Service.
no, because that was done so much better.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I was just
Yeah.
saying,
But
like,
no, I'm agreeing with you. I just think they focused on it too much.
Yeah. I I get that too. And of course, we get Bond and M talking about Vesper's boyfriend, who, of course, the body is, turned up, but we realize that's actually not the real
Yusuf.
Yusuf. That's his name, Yusuf.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, who is that supposed to be? Just
probably some
Right.
random schlub.
Sorry?
Some random schlub, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if he was important to the story or not. I'm sorry.
Uh,
I don't think the actual body is, other than it's not Vesper's boyfriend.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
The body is just somebody they put in place. The actual guy is Vesper's boyfriend, who is like
Yes.
a honey trap for Quantum.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
And you see Bond take the picture, while M's not looking.
Yeah. Little sleight of hand.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, of course, we get Bond chasing Mitchell across Siena, Italy, and I really like the chase scene. I mean, it's very it's rough. I mean, it's brutal in some places, like those jumps he's making, and I mean, you can tell some of that stuff really, even if it's a movie, it's gotta hurt.
There's a shot where he's jumping from one fire escape to another below, like maybe a story or 2 stories below. And the camera's placed like right under this breakaway table, and you see Craig hit it, and the table just pretty much explodes, and you can just tell on his face like he's actually in pain, like he's not acting, because I'm pretty sure he actually did a lot of the stunts in this chase. And
yeah, like I think Craig did quite a bit of his stunts in these movies, didn't he?
yeah, well, I was gonna say I think this is the one where he really took it by the reins. Like he was like really in the action for I'd say 90% of it.
So, what do y'all think about how Mitchell and Craig fight? Like the whole falling through the glass and
I
think it's like super cool. I think it just knowing that somebody had that in their head and they had all the people to actually put it together, like the fact that they had to like slide back and forth at the same time and spin around, like it's insane. It's really overcomplicated, but awesome.
Here's what I took away from it. So the Craig movies are a little more grounded, right?
Yeah.
And Bond he doesn't have his normal arsenal of gadgets, so it kind of forces him to be a little more creative in the action scenes. And I like if this is what we get from that, then yeah, that's awesome. I love this scene. It's really creative. It's well executed, and I even like I like the shot where Bond grabs the rope to I guess like steady himself, and he aims the gun at Mitchell and ends him.
And before that, I like when Bond is coming up the stairs and he pulls the church bells.
Yes,
yeah, I like that too.
That's just another case of Bond just being an asshole.
It could be. I don't know why he would choose to be an asshole at this moment, but
well, no, I'm just saying, like, so it's smart that he does it, but also he's like, man, screw this guy that I'm chasing. I'm gonna ring this bell.
do you think he was just taking his anger out, like he's just pissed off, like, Urgh!
Sorry.
There have been a couple of shots so far. I want to get your guys' opinion on this. So obviously the establishing shot of the mountain that the road goes around where we have our first chase scene. Okay, that shot. Does it not look like that shot was supposed to have a gun barrel in front of it? Like, does it not look like something the gun barrel would open up on?
Open up into? Yeah, I can see what you mean.
Oh, okay, then also the part where Bond grabs the rope, like I was talking about, and then aims the gun at the camera. Like, I feel like they were like potentially going to use that for a gun barrel, like they did in Casino Royale.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would be okay if they did that. That would be all right. I would have been all right if they opened with a gun barrel. I am so glad that we got out of the damn gun barrel being at the end of the movie. That was the dumbest mess. And they do that. Why did they do it in Skyfall? I mean, okay, I could almost understand it with this one because, Casino Royale and Quantum, that's James Bond becoming James Bond, okay?
Yes, I agree.
But they had no business putting it at the end of Skyfall. Skyfall, that should have been at the beginning, and in my opinion.
Here's the biggest problem that I have with the Craig movies, and I'll keep this short, I promise. But it's like they just keep promising us that, okay, now it's Bond. Like, okay, after this one, now he's Bond.
Yes.
No. After this one, now he's Bond. That's why the gun barrel's at the end. And by the time that he's actually Bond, he's too old to keep playing Bond.
I totally agree with that, actually. Like I thought the same thing. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not going to get started on that because it's
Yeah,
really a
I'm
slippery
mad.
slope with me.
Yeah.
I could go on for quite a while about my thoughts about the Craig era. I mean, I both like it and I dislike it at moments, but this movie is firmly in my liking
Yeah.
department.
Yeah.
I have a question. Before we leave this whole sequence, before we get into the main meat of the movie, what do you guys think about the car?
I love the car.
Love it.
Is it? I didn't look it up. Is this the DB9?
I believe so. Yeah. I think. Here, I'll look it up.
Okay. Okay. Well, I just want to say that like the way this car is designed, it's super sleek. I love the tail lights, like the way they're just super clear, and then like whenever he brakes and stuff, then they turn red or whatever. I don't know what it's called. I just assume it's just.
They're called brake lights.
Well, I mean, I assume they're brake lights. I'm just saying, like, I like that they're not red. I like that everything looks super crisp with the silver car.
Yes, I get what you're saying.
It looks great.
It's a very gorgeous car, and I like. I know we're used to seeing Bond drive a silver car, right, and blue that one time, but I like the black. I think it suits Bond.
I just think it's a great car. So I wanted to make sure we discuss that because I love this car.
It's so this is DBS.
Yeah, DBS is what it
Yes,
is.
that makes sense.
The successor. Go ahead.
I saw it on the headrest and I couldn't tell whether it's a DB9 or DBS. Which one's the DB9 then? Or maybe is it a DB10?
DB10's Inspector.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. Back to the regular scheduled programming.
Yeah, like I like the Aston Martin in this movie too. You actually see this same Aston Martin in quite a few of the Craig era video games, like in Bloodstone.
Yeah.
Also in 007 Legends. This car is in the place of the DB5 in the Goldfinger segment, and it's
Are you
also
serious?
yes. And this car is in the place of the V12 Vanquish in the Die Another Day sequence. And actually, it's in the place of the 1969 DBS in the Owner Master Secret Service segment. So, do y'all know what I'm talking about whenever I say 007 Legends?
Yes, I do. I've seen gameplay of it, and I think I've mentioned on this podcast before. Actually, I've mentioned I've been meaning to play it.
Yeah.
But I think that's really dumb to replace the DB5.
Well, I mean,
I get it because it's Craig.
yeah.
You know,
I mean,
playing through those moments.
yeah. It worked for what they used it for in the movie. I mean, in the game is all right. I mean, you don't really get to do much with the cars in that game. Bloodstone, you get to use the cars a lot more than you do in 007 Legends. Anyway,
Bloodstone's a great game.
Yeah,
Just
Bloodstone is
just while we're here, Bloodstone is a great game.
So where are we at? I'm sorry.
The fight scene with the cool ropes and the
Yeah.
scaffolding. So my question is like when Bond's by his ankle upside down reaching for his gun, why does Mitchell decide it's a great idea to climb these scaffolds to get my gun when he's on ground level and he could just like hit him with a 2x4 or some kind of equipment? Or literally just strangle him with his bare hands because he's weaponless and they're on the same level. Like, why go for your gun?
Yeah, that's a good question, but now that I'm thinking about it, was he not on a scaffold as well?
He was low.
Okay. It probably would have made more sense for him to just, like, even if he wasn't a scaffold, just jump off.
It just wouldn't have been as cool, I guess.
And just kick Bond in the head. But, well, we got a really cool scene because of it.
Yeah, it is really cool.
So of course, after that, we see they go back to MI6 and they're at Mitchell's apartment. and basically they're going through his stuff, and she talks about how she found the Christmas presents that she had bought him.
Doesn't even smoke.
He doesn't even smoke. Like the ashtray or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think he smoked, but so, and also she's like, you had to kill him. You couldn't have brought him in for questioning, which is something that we see quite a bit in this movie. Bond kills a few personnel that could actually probably have helped MI6 know more about quantum.
It kind of occurred to me after this viewing that that's kind of Bond's arc in this movie, isn't it?
Yes.
To quit killing people.
I totally think that is his arc, Caleb. Like I agree. I've thought the same thing. You're exactly
as kind of on the nose as it is.
Like he is like, so I think Casino Royale was his arc about becoming a cold-hearted, bastard, not letting, love interfere with this,
Well, he didn't learn from that, apparently.
But I think the arc here is not to be reckless, because he is definitely reckless. And you can, like, whenever I think about Quantum of Solace, there's another movie that comes to mind from another James Bond actor, and some of y'all might even know what I'm talking about. Any guesses? So I think Quantum of Solace is very similar to License to Kill.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Just Bond being out on his own, like even going up against people that in any other movie might be allies. We see Bond go up against, MI6 agents and also CIA, whereas and the same thing happens in Quantum, in License to Kill as well, but I just wanted to make that parallel.
Yeah, no, I think you even brought that up during the License to Kill.
Yeah, I think I probably did.
Podcast. Yep. You're right, though. I agree.
It's pretty noticeable when you point it out. I just I wasn't really looking for it. So
Gotcha.
Thank you for that, John.
No problem, Colton.
The biggest difference I see in this one is Felix has both legs in this one.
Yep.
And he's not with James very much in the movie.
Yep.
I would like to say one more thing. Also, since you pointed it out, John, you get the similarities in between M and his feelings for Bond in License to Kill, and M and her feelings for Bond in this. Whenever they're trying to kill Bond, and she's like, "I trust him. Go." She sends, was it Bill Tanner? She sends him out, like, "Go see what you can do."
Yeah.
It's my agent, and I trust him.
Yeah. Oh,
nice.
I'm glad you mentioned Tanner. Rory Kinnear. This is our first.
Tanner is here.
Yep.
Instead of damn Villiers, like, good God, like, I cannot stress how much I disliked him. But man, I was watching this movie last night. Man, Rory Kinnear is young here. Like, my God.
Yeah, for real.
Like, I mean, like, I guess I'm just used to seeing like Skyfall, Spectre, No Time to Die era Roy Kinnear, but in this one, it's like, man, he is.
I think it's because he got more screen time in those movies.
Yeah.
I noticed he didn't get a lot of screen time in this one.
He didn't get much at all in this one, but I mean, we do see him get quite a bit more than most other Tanners did.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think what we get is great.
Yeah,
it was a really nice touch to have it in the movie.
Well, I never noticed until we started watching these movies that Tanner has been in the older Bond movies. Was he in any of the Sean Connery ones?
The first one he was in was The Man with the Golden Gun.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
And Michael Goodliff played him in that one. And I know you guys probably don't know him, but he was actually in a TV show that I really liked called Callan. He played a character in that TV show. And then there was a few other Tanners along the way. Really, Tanner started becoming a main character in like the Brosnan era with Michael Kitchen.
Oh yeah, and he didn't get a lot of screen time in those either.
Yeah, he didn't get much in those, but he was more. It was more than what we were used to. Like
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. Like if nothing else came of this movie, I'm glad they cast Rory Kinnear as
Yes.
Tanner.
Can I want in the next, if I know we're supposed to get another James Bond film, when we do, I want to see James Bond do something outside of work for once. Go get a beer with Bill Tanner. Go get a drink with Tanner. Like,
Well, I
do
mean-
something with your homeboy.
I mean,
Yeah.
like in the novels, I mean, like Bill Tanner was supposed to be like Bond's best friend in the agency. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, you in the novels they talk about like Bond and him like going and playing golf and
Doing all type of stuff.
and doing stuff
Let's
together.
see
like-
them do stuff.
I can't speak for the other incarnations of Tanner, but I can say this one being a good friend.
Yeah, me too. What
I
about
can
you?
just see this Bill Tanner having a wife at the house and him nagging Bond about stuff.
Yeah.
No comment.
No comment.
Is
on
is that good or
it.
bad?
No, I just don't have any.
Okay.
No comment on
Anyway,
Tanner?
So we have the whole thing about the money and how they've like what. So this part right here, I was kind of like, huh? On, and it might just be me not paying attention enough. So what about the money? Whenever they're like,
So they found the money in Mitchell's apartment.
Yeah.
They traced the numbers on the money. And of course they said, well, that could be a million places, but they found like a whole bunch of them that were connected to Green. But they were at this Slate guy's place.
and Port-au-Prince,
Yeah,
Haiti.
in Haiti. And so that's where they said,
Okay, well that's what I was kind of gleaning, but I really think that I just didn't pay attention in that part. That freaking little computer table thing that they're pulling up the
What do
money
you
on,
guys
that
what do you
kind
guys
of-
think of the MI6 makeover here? It's so out of nowhere because
I
we
know.
only get it for this movie.
I know. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, man, MI6 is never this high tech again. Like,
Yeah, it's like let's spend $1 billion giving this place a makeover, and then M was like, I don't like it.
let's just go back to the way it was.
Yeah.
That table to the computer on the wall, that is like the only part of this movie that just like made me just like pay super attention to the screen. I was like, what is going on?
You know what I just
Tony Stark's
realized?
table from
You know what I just realized? You know what other movie came out this year?
Iron Man.
Iron Man. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's got all the holographic computer stuff. I don't know if there's any correlation there, but
I've actually never seen
kinda,
Iron Man.
it's kind of interesting.
Sorry.
That's a phenomenal film, John.
Yes, he should see that.
It's really good. Yeah.
So Bond goes to Haiti, or as the guy says, Haiti. I just love the way that dude pronounces it.
Too bad Mr. Big ain't gonna be down there.
So
Yeah,
I
man.
was watching this on Amazon, and if you guys have ever watched these movies on Amazon or any movie, you know they have that X-ray thing where it like shows the cast and scene by scene.
Yes.
And during the scene where they're inspecting those bills, one of the guys is I think he's listed as a forensic specialist. But before I read that, I was like, is this guy supposed to be Q? Y'all know what I'm talking about?
I know what
Is-
you're talking about.
Yeah, that's 2 movies in a row where they've kind of hinted at the
Yeah.
character without actually saying, who it is. I'm not saying it is. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting.
I think they're just afraid to pull the trigger.
That's kind of where I was headed. Like,
Commit to it.
yeah.
Well, next movie they do.
No, next movie they're like, here's your damn cue.
Yeah. And
So spoilers for that. I kind of like the new Q. I'm probably in the
Oh, I do too.
yeah. I think he's like their interact. I'm spoilers for that podcast. I like their interactions in most of the movies. So I'm glad you like them too, Michelle. I don't feel alone. I don't know if the other guys like you not.
I like that I like that the dynamic is completely flipped on its head.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go along with Caleb here. Okay. I like Ben Whishaw as Q. I actually really, really liked him whenever I saw Skyfall for the first time. I was like, thank God they've got somebody back being Q. at the same time, and I know that you can't compare people to each other. I mean, you can, but I mean, there's no point in doing it because
It's not fair.
it's not
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
But man, dude, like it just doesn't. It just doesn't.
It ain't. It
I
don't help.
know.
It ain't Desmond, man. Like I mean, and I know that's not Ben Wishaw's fault. I know he's a awesome actor. It's just, man, I really miss Desmond.
It's like they've been missing this piece of the puzzle for
Yeah.
however many years, and they just made their own out of cardboard, and it doesn't quite fit.
But actually, I mean, I don't want if you're listening to this right now, don't think that I hate him as Q because I don't. And there's actually going to be quite a bit of things that I bring up next podcast about Q. So I'm going to not bring them up now because he's not in this movie. And we're going to talk about them next time. But I actually have a few things to say and a few things to ask you. Ask you boys and you, ma'am, and you, the listener. So be looking forward to that. Anyway, so we're in Haiti, and Bond goes to the hotel, and what is it? Hotel Desiree or Desaline or something.
I don't think I wrote it down.
Yeah,
Did I? Desalie.
Desalie, something like that. So he goes to the room, and he lets himself in, and he's walking through it, and he hears a knife open up, and this right here is probably one of the most Bourne fight scenes I've ever seen. Like, my God,
Yeah.
this could have literally been in a Bourne movie. Like, it's just straight up like
It happens so fast.
it is fast. It's very fast, very fast paced.
While we're here, I just want to admit something. I've never seen a Jason Bourne film.
I think I've seen the first one, and it's been forever.
The only Bourne films I've seen is I saw the one with Jeremy Renner in it.
Dude, really? You've seen the Bourne Legacy, but you haven't seen the Bourne Identity?
Yeah,
Is it-
look, it was on TV one day. I watched it with my dad. I will say that I'm a Matt Damon fan because I'm a Ben Affleck fan, and I love both those dudes. I've just never seen the Bourne movies.
I mean, well, we'll have to review them on here.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're good.
Okay, I was thinking that because this movie is so Bourne similar, I was thinking that after I watched this film, I was like, we should do the Bourne movies.
We should. I actually, so this is going off a little bit, but I actually have all the Bourne movies. Well, I've got all of them up until the latest one that's come out, which was just called Jason Bourne. And I got them at like a store in Savannah for like $7. It was a Blu-ray set of them for like $7. I just saw it and I was like, well, dang, all right, I'll buy it.
That's a steal, dude.
Yeah, it really was. And still got it.
Was Family Video going out of business? Is that?
It may have been.
I mean, it's the only likely scenario I can think of.
Or did you get it at the indoor flea market? You and I went there one time, didn't we?
I used to go there all the time. Like,
Yeah, I think you and I went there a couple times. It might have been there.
it might have been. I can't remember where I got it, Colton.
I know you bought some stuff there one time.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to keep us off track. My bad.
Are you good? But anyway, so Bond kills this guy, and I love that we see Bond like physically get hurt, and we see him like
Tourniquet.
doing the tourniquet,
Wings
and
on the bus.
he steals that guy's jacket, and he's walking out, and he's like, "Hold up, maybe I can use his key and see if he's got any mail." And he gets that briefcase, which he doesn't even know what's in it, but he's just like, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna take it anyway." And he walks.
He used the
Yeah, he used the whole.
He just went to the front desk.
Okay.
He
All
was
right.
So
he looked like the guy.
Yeah.
That was the thing I was gonna say, Michelle. I was gonna say like he totally plays on the receptionist's like obliviousness.
Yes.
Like all white dudes look the same.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'll tell you what it was. The whole time she's back there working, she's like, "Oh my God, is that Michael G. Wilson over there in that chair?" Like, she can't think about anything else.
Fair enough.
Michael G. Wilson cameo.
Yeah, producer, right?
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I didn't know he was there, but I mean, it's funny that you said it. So, thank you, Caleb.
Yeah, thanks, Caleb. I actually didn't know that.
Really?
You're much more down with that than I am.
You caught it in Casino Royale, right?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay. Did we talk about it?
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know more about his cameos than I do, which that's something I need to actually brush up on. Like, but anyway, so he gets the briefcase and he's walking out, and a very attractive young lady pulls up in a hybrid, whatever that thing is.
It's just some kind of smart car.
And I want to stop for a second. So this woman, are y'all familiar with her?
I know she was a Max Payne.
She was also in Hitman. That's where I first saw her at, was Hitman.
Yep.
Which I'm one of the few people in the world who actually really like the Hitman movie.
So, is that the Hitman movie with the actor from Justified? Or is it
Yes,
the-
Timothy Oliphant.
So, I just want to say I love Timothy Oliphant,
Me too.
and I want to say that this actress, she's also in November Man with
Yes.
Pierce
With
Brosnan.
yes.
Really?
And
I didn't know
she's
she was in that.
Yeah. And she's also in Black Widow. She's one of the villains. She's the main henchman villain in the Black Widow film.
Okay.
If you've seen that.
I've seen Black Widow.
It's a pretty good, I think, okay, a lot of people don't like Black Widow. I think that's a pretty good espionage film.
I thought it was fine. I mean, I liked it. Did you like Black Widow when we saw it?
I saw it.
We watched it together.
Don't remember.
I think that's a pretty good movie. I know a lot of people hate it. I see Caleb right now.
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen
Oh.
it. But no, I was gonna say, do you know who else is in Black Widow? That is also in this movie.
Who?
Come on.
I'm flaking, man. I'm flaking.
David Harbour.
Oh yeah, David Harbour.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I did not realize that this was David Harbour until way later.
Man, look, so going back now, I've seen David Harbour in like a lot of stuff. I did not realize he's in as much stuff as he is. David Harbour's in Suicide Squad.
Who's David Harbour?
David Harbour's the other CIA agent.
Stranger Things.
What's that, dude?
He's-
Beam.
So I've
Yeah.
never seen Stranger Things. I know David Harbour from a lot of other stuff. He was Hellboy. Not a good one. uh, David Harbour was also in Black Widow, as Caleb said. He was the Russian, the big Russian dude, Red Guardian, I think.
Okay. All righty. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's he's the guy that's working with Felix
Okay.
in this.
I got you. Yeah, but like we need to, in the future, after we get done with the Bond series, we need to review Hitman and also Black Widow on here.
Man, Katie will come on for Black Widow because she loves that movie.
Okay, awesome.
Hey, don't forget about Punisher Warzone.
Oh, it's definitely Punisher Warzone.
You know,
Brett-
David Harbour is in Punisher Warzone.
Are you serious?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I was about to say, Brent will definitely be back for Punisher Warzone.
Man, that would be a 4-hour podcast.
So anyway,
Sorry, guys.
we're riding in the little smart car with Olga.
It's a Ford Ka.
A what?
A Ford Ka. K-A. Ka.
Oh, that's not what I thought you said.
I thought you were saying car with a British accent.
I was like, what is wrong with you?
It's a Ford car, Jonathan.
Oh.
Lord.
So they're riding around in the car, and pretty much he opens the briefcase up and he's like, I think somebody's wanting to kill you. And he narrowly dodges her gun. And I just love this part whenever Bond's standing there, and he's like, well, that's not very nice. And the guy comes up and he's like, you're supposed to shoot her. And he says, I missed. And then he does that thing where he like, man, I love that. That is Bond right there.
So, are we to assume that this dirt bike has one of those thumb push throttles and not the twist handle?
No, he flicked his wrist to
Oh,
twist.
did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, like it was a strange movement. But I was like, that had to have been hard to do.
But and of course, he goes ahead and rides the dirt bike and follows her, and she goes to where Dominic Green is at, and she's all pissed off because, you know, she thinks that Bond is an assassin sent by Dominic Green. So one thing that I want to say here. So Bond goes up to the security guard, you know, the Jamaican guy standing there, the not Jamaican, the Haitian guy standing there, and he gives him a card. Did y'all see what name is on the card?
Universal Exports.
Okay, but
the
it says R. Sterling.
Oh no, I didn't.
That
So
is
Robert
the same
Sterling?
name that James Bond used in The Spy Who Loved Me. He uses the name Robert Sterling, a
Robert
marine
Sterling.
biologist, and he's using it again in Quantum of Solace. I think that's really cool.
I do
Good
too.
continuity there.
Yeah. I mean, so we are now introduced to our main villain, Dominic Green, and we also introduced to Elvis. And you know, I was telling Michelle last night when we were watching the movie, Elvis tells the Haitian guard, the black guy, I don't know how else to refer to him as.
Oh, you're fine.
He tells him, he says, next time pay attention. Literally, he is the only one doing his job here. Like Elvis could have went and took care of that, but like, dude is just out there. I mean, you know, he's out there doing his job. Like he's the only one that's.
It's funny you mentioned that because there's a guy in the background that's supposed to be sweeping, and he's not even touching the damn ground.
And he's not whistling the Goldfinger theme.
He's not even touching. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The extra in the background that's got the big push broom.
I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
Are you serious? He's got the bristles like 3 foot off the ground. I just thought it was hilarious that you said that nobody was like this guy's the only one doing his job.
Well, like it just, I don't know. It just struck me as like, you know, Elvis, who's supposed to be he's supposed to be the main henchman here, but he's not much of one. But it's like you would think he's the one that would like, you know, be taking care of something like that, you know, but it's just nameless guard over here who's actually fulfilling his role, and he's the one getting taught down. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
it just goes to show you that Green is just like the ultimate asshole. Because like I hate this guy.
Michelle,
also
my lovely wife, she hates Dominic Green. What would you say about him? Said he was ugly or something like that?
Oh, he's just disgusting. Like
He's kind of a slime ball, isn't he? Like
he's not even remotely attractive.
I'll second that.
I agree. I would not date that man. He's not pretty enough.
So I read that they based him on Tony Blair. Y'all know who Tony Blair is?
No, who's Tony Blair?
He's the Prime Minister of the UK.
Yeah.
I barely know anything about United States politics.
Yeah. Didn't really look like him.
But I remember reading that about him, that that's who they based him. Like I guess
like him being a sleazeball.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He reminds me of the actor Ben Mendelsohn. Like they look similar to me.
I don't know who that is, bro. I'm sorry.
He's Ben Mendelsohn's a villain in a ton of movies. He played Krennic in Rogue One.
He played Riddick?
Krennic.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Riddick.
No, I've never seen Pitch Black.
Escape from Butcher Bay Riddick. Anyway, sorry.
I get it. Yeah, I just looked him up. I get it. Yeah.
You looked Riddick up?
No, this guy.
Krennic.
Okay.
We're going to seem real disjointed.
Hey, real quick, I want to point something out that I guess I never really paid attention to as a kid, but this movie like has a lot of Bond doing actual spy stuff, and it's like really glossed over. And I kind of picked it up this time around. So that card has a number on it, right? And that the guy that you were referring, Elvis, he gets the card and he calls that number, and that's how Bond tracks him. Yeah. I know it's obvious now, but it's like they just gloss over it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's also, I think it's when they're driving in the little smart car, the Ford car. She's got her purse. It's like sitting between them and Bond, like
He like
is
fiddles in there. Yeah.
yeah, and there was something else I wanted to point out, but anyway, yeah, it's cool. That's something that this movie doesn't really get a lot of credit for, and I think it's just because it's not really made to be a big deal, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cool to see.
I actually agree with you there. Like, we do see quite a bit of like more grounded stuff here. I mean, don't get me wrong, we do see some spectacular action sequences, but at the same time, there is little things that are, just subtle, subtle espionage.
Right. It's like the sleight of hand thing earlier at the beginning with him. If you guys notice, he sits his glass down and grabs the picture and slides it in his pocket. I thought that was
Yeah.
We haven't really got a lot of that, and this is a spy series, so it's nice to see.
Yeah, like there's something else I want to talk about in a second that's that I've never even picked up on until I was watching it last night. But anyway, we do get this well, pretty much we realize that this young lady, what is her name?
Camille.
Camille is there, but she's basically sleeping with Dominic Green because she wants to get revenge on General Madrano, who killed her family.
Yeah, dude, that line that he says, like something about I knew your family. I believe I was the last one to see him alive. I want to be like, you bastard.
Yeah, I know, like just, yeah, it's pretty bad. And I mean, just from the start, just by looking at that guy, he's bad. Like, so Bond, I guess, thinks, hey, I've got to rescue her. So he does all this like crazy motorcycle and boat driving and does rescue her. But we figure out later on in the movie, actually, he kind of screwed things up because she was where she wanted to be.
Yep.
But so after this crazy motorcycle and boat sequence, one thing I didn't understand is the way he just like takes her and just hands her off, and that's it. You would think if you just went through all this stuff to save her, you might be like, hey, maybe I need to stick around and, talk to her about what happened, but so he steals that Ford Bronco and he's on the phone with, M, and he's talking to them about Dominic Green. One thing I never picked up on, and I didn't last night until we were watching the movie with subtitles on, it says like they were scanning databases for Dominic Green, MI6 was, and it says scanning KGB databases. I just thought that was pretty cool that they were going through every intelligence agencies like law.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I never noticed
cool.
it. I watched it with the subtitles on. But it was a computer voice saying it. It was like, like just an AI voice saying it.
I'm gonna point out. Sorry. What'd you say?
Scanning for Dominic Green.
Yeah, it was pretty much like that. I just thought it was
pretty close.
Like I just noticed several little things that I never had noticed until watching it last night. I was like, man, there's a lot of little things that they don't even give a lot of attention to that, you just have to actually pay attention to figure
out. I don't know, like, is that by design? Like, is that why they edited this movie this way? So it would force you to like go back. Because honestly, I mean, I really like movies that I can go back and watch multiple times and pick up new things.
Me too.
So, I mean, if that was a intention of the filmmakers, then good job. I want to point out something even more, I guess, smaller and even more irrelevant. But when the computer, I guess it's picking up on Bond's dialogue, and he's spelling the name, and what is this? I think he says double E. He says
double E, and it does a double. Yes, I saw that too.
Yeah. That whoever was doing the visual effects there, good job. Nice attention to detail.
Man, Caleb, I am so glad you said that because I thought the same thing. I was like, man, that is crazy that the computer did that.
Yep.
Do y'all even know what we're referring to?
Because you interrupted him.
Oh no, I'm lost.
I know what you're talking about. I know when he spelled his name, but what are you saying?
Okay, so as he's spelling his name, the computer, which is this window in M's office, it's the display, and it's showing what Bond is saying, and he's spelling the name, and he spells GREE, and before he says E, the computer anticipates a W, and that's what it's supposed GRW, and
Okay.
yeah, it's a really, like I said,
Blinking. You missed it.
entirely irrelevant.
Yeah.
They could have just put double E up there, and I would have thought nothing of it.
Yeah, it's a blink and you miss it moment, and I had never seen it until last night, and I was like, man, that is crazy that
Yeah.
did that. But
Boys just going over this movie with a fine tooth comb.
yeah, we really are.
Look, I said this in Casino Royale, and it's true for this movie too. I know every frame of this movie.
So
Well, now I do.
I got you. So pretty much M calls up the CIA to see if they have any interest in Green Planet, and it automatically transfers them to
Beam.
what the that guy y'all were talking about.
Yep.
Beam.
Gregory Beam.
Yeah. The CIA section chief of South America. And he's like, no, we don't have anything to do with him. And then M's like, well, they really do. And Tanner's like, what do you mean? And she's like, they literally just transferred us to this guy just because we mentioned his name,
Yeah.
so.
You can tell that this is his first movie.
But so pretty much we get a little sequence with Gregory Beam and Felix Leiter and Dominic Green and Elvis, and pretty much Dominic Green's like, yeah, you guys need to take care of this guy, and shows him a picture, and Felix Leiter's like, yeah, I don't know who you're talking about, which if you think about it, literally Felix had just got done working with Bond. I mean,
Like yesterday.
yesterday. I mean,
Pretty much, yeah.
like not even a long time ago, like maybe a few weeks at the most,
Mhm.
But he's covering for him, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But,
So does Gregory Beam, does he know that? Does he know that Felix was just
I don't
on a
know.
mission with him?
What I take from it is like Felix finished his assignment. They sent him to go help Beam.
Mhm.
Okay.
So like he probably wasn't debriefed on the assignment Felix was on because it was irrelevant to Beam's assignment.
But
Yeah.
but Beam knows who Bond is. He said that's James Bond.
Yeah, he kind of says
Well,
like her name. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know who that is. That's James Bond.
Yeah, and he gives Felix this look like you know who that is.
Yeah, like. But
Well, that just goes to show you Felix a good dude.
Yeah.
This is 100 from day one. You know what I mean?
Dude.
100.
I love this Felix like so
Yeah.
much. And
Well, I
I
mean-
hate that he always gets stuck with like shitty people to work with.
He does, don't he?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really disappointing.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like Jeffrey Wright, I mean, I love him as Felix, but man, I mean, just looking at the movies he was in Casino, Quantum, and No Time to Die, and man, he didn't. I mean, besides Casino Royale, he didn't do much. Like it's just like they didn't want to really give him anything to do. I mean,
Sam Mendes must have had something against him
yeah,
because he was absent for 2 movies when he was a pretty big part of Casino and Quantum.
Well, they also like you get rid of Felix, but then you get Q and you get Bunny Penny.
I get it. Yeah.
So- Which also that's one thing that I feel has personally been missing from these last 2 movies is Money Penny. It's something I've been bummed about.
We got a Money Penny pun.
When in this movie,
No, in Casino Royale.
Okay.
Anyway, so
sorry to change the subject, fellas. I'm just ready for some more Money Penny.
Oh no, we're used to it.
They're in Australia.
I do it too, dude.
Yeah, we
How'd your basketball go? Come on, I'm just kidding.
didn't finish it. It's not done.
So Bond goes to Austria.
Isn't Austria where Arnold Schwarzenegger's from?
Yes. So also we're
Shut up.
He is.
I know, but you just said sorry for changing the subject.
I'm sorry. Austria, boom. That's where my brain goes.
I'm kidding with you, dude.
Man, I'm sorry.
So
It's endearing.
Thank you.
So they go to Austria and they go to a opera where Quantum are having a meeting. And we see Bond doing a little bit of, subtle spy work. He's watching who gets the bag from the lady at the desk. And then he basically goes and takes that guy out, knocks him out or whatever, and takes his earpiece. And what about whenever he comes out and he takes the door knob and just breaks it?
Ain't nobody getting in that water closet.
Yeah, I know. They have to pry the door off, I guess, to get in there or take the hinges off.
What about that actor going to his wardrobe and opening the locker?
Yeah.
I love that part, dude.
I do too.
And then, because so do what?
He was a built guy. Like, he had muscles.
Right. So, Bond knew what he was looking for, but it's hilarious because you see him looking for you see him looking for something, you don't know what yet, and then you immediately get this shot of Bond walking through that door with a tuxedo
And so Caleb, you played the Quantum of Solace game, right?
on. I did.
Hey.
Oh yeah. That's a very, very, very good game.
I just remember this part on the game where you had to get where Craig is at in the movie when he's taking pictures of everybody?
Yeah.
In the game, you had to get up there with a sniper rifle and shoot snipers who were.
That's right. Yeah. Wasn't it outside?
Yeah, it was outside. It was open air.
Yeah. Okay. I remember now.
But I really like whenever they're talking and there's all these members of Quantum, which you got to remember at this point. We don't know that Quantum is part of Spectre, but no time that I retcons.
It wasn't.
I mean, Spectre retcons everything as being part of Spectre. So
yeah.
But
I hate that.
Yeah. But pretty much some of the chatter that you get here is also pretty cool. It's another one of those things like if you don't really pay attention, it's gone. But they're talking about, he says transfer some stuff out of our Siberian holdings, and they're doing all sorts of business dealings.
How much more pipe do you need?
Yeah, they're talking about piping, which we automatically when you think of pipes, we're thinking about oil. Later on in the movie, we realize they're not talking about oil. And one of my favorite things that has always stuck with me is Dominic Green says, "This is Earth's most valuable resource we need to control as much as we can." Obviously, people are thinking what?
Oh, yeah.
Natural gas,
Diamonds,
gold, whatever, but it's actually none of that. It's something we've all got to have to survive.
Oxygen.
Go ahead and cut it off.
Did you notice that something else they said was, what about the Canadians? So I kind of thought about Houston and his
Canadian bacon.
girlfriend.
That's what that was about. Yeah, good job. Look at you.
Yep.
So I totally cut you off, Michelle. I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you're saying.
But yeah. He says something about the Canadians, and they're like, well, we've got that taken. Yeah, we got that taken care of, or something like that. But I really like that. Now, I don't know. I don't know if I really like the fact that they're doing it at an opera, but it reminds me of in Thunderball when they were at the Spectre meeting and everybody's like, yeah, we got a lot of money coming from drugs, and yeah, we did an assassination and we blackmailed this. I like that whole thing about we got this criminal organization talking about all their day-to-day business. I like that. Now, I guess it's all right that they do it at an opera. I probably, if I was a member of the most secret Illuminati criminal organization in the world, I probably wouldn't be doing my business dealings at an opera.
Just go to that compound at the end of the movie.
I mean, hell, just go to the McDonald's down the street.
Well, that's what I thought about that too, and it's like maybe this was just the most convenient location for all of them because it is a lot of people.
Go ahead.
I would like to say that all these people that are part of Spectre are well off money wise, I would assume. So them all going to this place where they're going to be dressed similarly, and then you have the opera going on, that's going to distort any type of listening device. So unless somebody is smart enough, like James, to intercept one of their listening devices, anybody else is probably not going to be able to crack the code and figure out what they're doing, or even have any idea they're doing anything like this. This is probably like something they do regularly and get away with it easily, because like those dudes' wives probably just sit there watching the opera, don't know their husbands have anything to do with Spectre.
Yeah.
Tosca to see what Tosca was about. So Tosca stands for Tuscan, which translates as to rough. And I don't know if you guys felt the same as I did, but this whole movie just felt rough, from the cinematography to the settings to the deserts and the rocks and the flames and the fire. So like Tosca meaning rough, and then the actual opera is a romance that is about a revolution. So
Okay.
starting a revolution by trying to control the water and the resources. So I think all that plays together.
Yeah,
That's
it
really
does.
smart.
Oh.
Hey. Yeah,
That's where my mind went.
yeah, you shed a whole new light on this scene. I just thought it was another pretentious
Cover.
editing choice like earlier.
And I also thought it was interesting that the giant eyeball was part of the scene set. And I know that later on, as we get into the Daniel Craig movies, you know, with Spectre, that eyes are very important. So I didn't know if that was all connected.
Oh, yeah. It could be like a callback or something.
Mhm.
Speaking of things looking rough, James looks rough as shit this whole movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say just the whole movie. He looks like he's
Yeah, haggard.
yes.
Do you guys ever do you guys ever pay attention to like the color grading in this movies? Like this one is just like particularly it's brown, and then it's juxtaposed to the Tusca scene, which is like primarily blacks and whites.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I don't know if I don't know what it's trying to say about the movie, or
And then at the end of this, when the people go after him, the sound cuts out too. So it's just the opera music, but they're having all this gunfight and like action scene.
And that's juxtaposed with the opera gunfights too, you know, which I really like that scene whenever the sound's out, and it's just yeah, I actually really like that.
as
a good stylistic choice.
Yes, as pretentious as it may be, I do love how this scene is put together.
Agreed.
I like how James pushes this dude off the roof, and then like they still kill him.
Okay, so I'm gonna say something that I did not even realize until last night watching it.
Me too. I know what you're fixing.
Go ahead and say it first. And
he just like in Spy Who Loved Me.
Yes.
Like,
dude, I have seen Quantum of Solace so many times and I never picked up on that, but that is literally what he did to Sander in Kyle.
Yeah. Man, all it was missing was him saying, "What a helpful chap."
Yes.
Well, he really, I wouldn't have fit because he didn't say anything.
It didn't do anything.
No.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, at that scene when he does that, that was actually Guy Haynes' bodyguard, and Guy Haynes is one of the member of Quantum, who is also advisor to the Prime Minister in the UK. So whenever Bond threw that dude off the roof and then Dominic Green's guys killed him, they made it look like James Bond murdered him. And that guy was a member of Special Branch, which is like, you know, not quite MI5 or MI6, but it's like law enforcement in the UK.
Yeah. So, yeah, I noticed that when M calls Bond, she says, like, you kill a member of Special Branch, you have to come in. Like,
whenever she said you killed a member of Special Branch, Bond didn't even say no, I didn't. You know, I mean,
yeah, he's like, there's no point.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, because if they like, if they're under the impression that he killed him, like, word's gotten out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no point in trying to.
Like, that's one of those things where more details would have just muddled the water worse.
Probably, yeah.
So anyway, pretty much M cuts off Bond's credit cards and his passport, and he can't get on the flight to go to follow, where they're going, which is Bolivia, right?
Mhm.
So he tells that young lady at the booth, it says, hey, tell him I'm going to Cairo.
Just like in Spy Who Loved Me.
It's like,
Yeah.
man, somebody was really digging The Spy Who Loved Me whenever they did this movie, wasn't they?
I do like how you can tell Bond's kind of flirting with this.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's using his natural charm,
Oh
what I mean?
yeah. He's probably not even trying.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not just women who can do that. Men can do it too. Like, we just don't see it as much.
No, Daniel Craig can do it.
Yeah, whenever I do it, it's harassment.
Whenever I do it, I get thrown out of the library.
So, Bond ends up going to see Mathis, who is in this movie, and he's going to Mathis so that he can get get a credit card, get a passport. Basically he's going to Mathis to pretty much just have Mathis be his fixer. Take care of all of his problems. Now that he's he's kind of burnt as a secret agent at the moment.
He's gone rogue.
He's gone rogue, which we see Daniel Craig's Bond do in every one of the movies. So at some point, somehow, he will go rogue.
He's a loose cannon that can't be stopped.
One thing I will say, and I don't want to dwell on this too long, but like, man, in License to Kill, Bond goes rogue, and it really felt like that meant something in License to Kill. You know what I mean? It's
Yes,
it's like, oh my God, James Bond is, he's going out on his own. He's a free agent. He's not part of MI6. Now, these days, it's like, yeah, man,
It's
he does
Tuesday.
that in every movie, like
It's Tuesday, yeah.
it just happens all the time now. It really doesn't make it feel like it's anything. It's just like, oh well,
Like,
You would think the MI6 would be like, dude, just stay home. We will give you a salary because you're costing us more, constantly going back and forth,
Yeah.
quitting and coming back, quitting and coming back.
Yeah, like I actually read a thing online like years ago where it was like an actual intelligence chief from MI6 had said that in real life James Bond would never have been an intelligence agent because they wouldn't have been able to depend on him because he does his own thing too much.
Yeah,
that's
so I just want to point this out. Whenever you guys talk about Bond going rogue, I'm just like, all that means to me is that he's not getting paid for the shit he's doing.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, like he's out there just doing everything on his own dime.
Well, I don't know, man. You still enough Ford Broncos and dirt bikes. Maybe you can make up for it.
I'm sure Mathis paid for a lot of his shit that he did with this, but still.
That's MI6 money too.
Probably right.
So in this scene with Mathis,
From the British government.
So like Bond shows up at Mathis's house, and like Mathis is like, "What do you want?" Because you got to remember, Bond had said that he was, a traitor, which he actually wasn't. And so
I'm glad this finally connected the dots for me.
You see,
thank
we
you.
like
Mathis on this podcast.
Okay. I like Mathis now.
So of course Mathis is here enjoying retirement with his, I guess, wife, mistress, girlfriend, whatever she is. And I really like how he's like, "Why are you wasting our expensive wine on the man that got me arrested?" And she's like, "You only buy cheap wine, and the only reason you have all this is because MI6 had to give you money. So you actually should be thanking this guy, thanking him." Like,
I like how the whole time they're exchanging this dialogue, they're speaking Italian, right? And Bond laughs because he's probably
Bilingual.
whatever quadlingual, and I just thought it was funny that, yeah.
Yeah, he smirks.
It's good humor. What'd you say, Michelle?
I said he smirks, kind of laughs a little bit.
Yeah.
So they end up going to Bolivia, and we see Bond on the airplane, and he's the only one that's still up. He's at the bar, and Mathis gets up and he goes over to him and he's like, what are you drinking? And Bond's like, I don't know. What am I having? And the bartender says, well, he's having, 3 measures of Gordon's gin, 1 measure of vodka, half a measure of Kina Lillet. And he says, he's had 6 of them. That is BS. Dude, if you had 6 Vesper martinis, you would not be chilling.
Because isn't it all alcohol?
Oh
Like,
yeah, it's all
the
alcohol.
ingredients.
There is no mixer there. It's just straight up everything there
Is alcohol.
is a
yeah.
type of alcohol. Dude, you would be so drunk at that moment. Like, I mean, especially at this point, guys, Bond has been up for probably days. I mean, consuming all that alcohol, dude, he would be out. Like, there would be no like conversations at all. It'd just be him like laying on the floor. Like, trust me, guys, I've had several Vesper martinis in my life. And I'm a big dude, okay? Like, I'm big. I'm bigger than Daniel Craig is. There is no way that he drank 6 of those things.
Well,
Maybe it's like that.
That was my alcoholic tangent gone, okay? I just wanted y'all to know there's no way that he did that.
Well, it could explain why he's basically invincible in these movies, because maybe it's like that episode of Futurama. You remember where he drinks 100 cups of coffee and all of a sudden time slows down?
I haven't seen that one.
So maybe by your 6th Vesper martini, you like transcend into this like immortal state.
We actually got a comment on our last video of someone talking about alcoholism and about how in some cases it could help somebody. I can't remember the full quote, but it was a comment on our last video.
I'm gonna go look it up.
I'm looking at. I've got it. I'm fixing to tell you.
I got you. But anyway, so we get into Bolivia, and they are like, as soon as they get out of the airport, we are met by Miss Strawberry Fields. What do you think about this lady?
It's a shame, man. Like, she just seems really sweet.
Yeah,
Dude, I love Strawberry Fields. She's
I
like
always thought she was very
tippy tops.
I like that her name isn't an innuendo. Like, it's kind of a
Beatles.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Strawberry Fields forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only comment I see on the Casino Royale is shout out to Uncle Steve for sure.
Look, maybe it's on our Die Another Day review.
Can you leave comments on Spotify? Maybe you read it on the Spotify version. But I love this part where they go to the hotel and Bond is basically like, you're crazy if you think I'm staying here. It's like, it fits our cover. And then they go to that nice fancy hotel. I
Teacher's on sabbatical that won the lottery.
Yes, yeah. He straight up tells that guy, we're teachers on sabbatical, we won the lottery. And he laughs like, yeah, right. It's a very James Bond thing to do.
I like the line that Mathis had said, I think she has handcuffs, and he says,
Oh yeah. This movie actually has a lot of good dialogue. That's another thing that's kind of glossed over, isn't it?
Yes.
There's actually some really good lines in here.
I think there is too. I thought about that last night. Like, watching this movie over, I was like, man, there really is a lot of nice dialogue in here.
Yeah.
And I never hear anybody talk about that. And like, from what I've read about the production of this movie, I mean, Daniel Craig himself was writing parts of this movie because was there a writer's strike that happened? There was something.
I think that was the case, yeah.
And I read that Daniel Craig was literally writing parts of the movie on like whenever they were basically shooting the movie.
They were pretty much just throwing scenes together
Yeah.
as they went up. They probably had like a rough draft or maybe just they had a rough idea of where they were going, but it's especially the dialogue in particular is especially impressive when you consider that they did not have
Yeah.
a proper script.
So of course we get Bond and Fields having a little bit of a love scene together, you know.
So did they
As
did
one
they
should.
did they ever find the stationery? That was such a weak line.
It was.
Only Daniel Craig could do that.
Hey, it worked. So
That's what I'm saying. Like,
But
if I said that, they'd be like, "There's a dollar store down the road."
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you.
Just punch me.
So anyway, so they go ahead and go to the party. And Mathis is supposed to be meeting with his friend, you know, in the police, the chief of police.
Hmm.
And we will touch on that in a little bit. So basically, Bond walks up on Dominic Green trying to kill Camille or, you know, push her off the side. And so basically, Bond takes her and they leave in that, what is it, a Range Rover? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
yes.
Some sort of SUV. And they get stopped by the cops. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I hate this scene, man. I really do. These freaking cops that kill Mathis, like seriously, like I just hate it.
Yeah, this sucks. I mean, it's well executed, I guess, because it makes me cry.
Yeah, I love Mathis, you know.
My question is, was Mathis not already dying?
Like he was already like he had been. Was he beaten or what? Like I mean,
did they think he was already dead?
Yeah, like
because they say, "Oh, he's moving," and then
yeah.
I was going to ask y'all. This is me, I guess, thinking I missed something again. Like when, so he's clearly like incapacitated by something.
Yeah.
When does that happen? Like as him and Camille or like, because he's not present in that scene, even though they do arrive together. He just disappears.
I was wondering, why is he in the back of that SUV? Like, where did the SUV even come from?
Well, that they show. I think they drove the SUV there.
Oh, did they? Okay.
That does not. That doesn't really answer where it come from. But
I must not even pay attention to that. Okay.
I didn't notice it either. I thought it was just something I missed. So I guess it's just something they didn't do very well in the movie.
So weren't Mathis and Felix both at the fundraiser event?
Yeah, Felix was there too. Like, you
yeah.
know. Well, I mean, Felix is there, and he actually.
And Fields is there.
Yeah, but
He's
like
watching Bond.
Felix watches Bond. He's like, you know, but he doesn't really say much about it. But he looks at him.
Yeah, that tells me that Gregory Beam didn't know that he was there. Like the vibe that I got was Felix was watching and he's thinking like, "Get the fuck out of here, dude."
But
so Gregory Beam's the one that had Mathis beat up and put in the Land Rover. That's where we're going with.
Well, I mean, I think the one that had that done to Mathis was the chief of police, right?
Because that's.
I was just making a joke. I'm sorry.
Oh,
yeah, I'm sorry.
We thought you were confused.
Well, we thought you were confused, brother.
No. I mean, I am confused, but I was just making a joke.
That's some of my dry ass delivery.
Yeah, my bad. I'm not good at it.
Neither am I. But yeah. Because that's the guy that Bond toward the end he jumps down on the hood of that Jeep and points the gun and says, "You and I had a mutual friend," shoots him.
So after this, they go to the airstrip, right?
Yeah. So are you cool?
Before this, I've not to interrupt either of you guys. We need to talk about how Bond discards Mathis' body.
That's what I was going to bring up. Like, are we cool with Bond just throwing it in the trash? Because he says like he wouldn't mind, and yeah.
Or even before that, what about when he asked him about his name?
Okay,
Oh,
yeah, I want to say something here.
Yeah.
I do not like the part when he's like, "Is Mathis your code name?" And he's like, "Yes." I mean, man, whenever I think of Mathis, I think of the novel Mathis, which is different from this movie Mathis because the novel Mathis was literally like a French deuxième bureau, which is like the French CIA,
Yeah.
French MI6. You know, he was an agent of that.
Yeah.
He was not an MI6 agent in the book. And
Okay.
Mathis in the books actually lives on. He actually saves James Bond's life in From Russia with Love after Rosa Klebb poisons him with her
Oh,
shoe.
I remember
yeah.
that. Yeah.
But but like I'm just gonna be honest with you. I do not like that Mathis dies. Um, which of course, I mean Mathis is kind of like, okay, you know how we were talking about how Bill Tanner wasn't in the movies like he was the books? Mathis is like that, but times 1,000,000 because Mathis is only in these two movies and that's it. Like, but in the books,
Man.
he was more of a character. You know what I mean? I mean, he wasn't in a bunch of books, but he was in several.
Enough to be notable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um,
I'm going to say something a little controversial. I think this death affected me more than Vespers.
yeah,
That's a fair analysis.
I mean, just seeing Bond hold him while he dies. I mean,
Well, he's a bro.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like he's literally like, not only that, Bond shifts his position so he's not in as much pain, and like he holds him as he dies,
yeah.
like in a caring way. Like that's probably one of the most like sympathetic things we've seen James Bond do. Like,
That's one. That's one thing I will say about Craig's Bond. He does seem to be a bit more empathetic and less sociopathic.
at times.
And but the main thing I was trying to make is Mathis is not a code name in the books. Like, I mean, but I
So is
know,
this?
and like, I don't. If you're listening to this, I don't want you to think I'm one of those guys who's like a book purist. I'm not. But like, look at that. Look at that little thumbs up that just came up on the screen. Anyway, like, I'm not a book purist or anything, but like, I didn't like that they made that a code name. Anyway, rant over. I'm done with that. We move.
Well, I want to say one thing about the Mathis death. Like, it's all James's fault that he's even there.
Yeah.
Like, that makes it even worse if you think about it. Because, like, Mathis didn't have to come help him. Mathis just knew James needed help. If James wasn't on this personal vendetta and he hadn't got Mathis involved, Mathis would be at home kicking it in his little villa or whatever with his old lady.
Drinking his cheap wine. Doesn't Bond literally say, well, like, why don't you come with me or you should go or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's his whole fault. Like, it's his whole thing. You were
Yeah.
saying something, Michelle?
No, I said, he said, you should come with me. That was the
Okay. Yeah. So Jonathan, do you think this is a retcon? Like, because I don't think that Mathis was intended to be his cover name in Casino Royale. I think that was just his name.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, yeah,
man.
like,
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like, he's not British, right?
oh, this dude ain't British at all. This dude's
So he's something else.
sounds more
So-
Italian than anything. Like,
So
Yeah.
if you think like he could have come from somewhere else
yeah.
and got to work for MI6, and they might have like gave him a whole new identity because he had connections everywhere.
Yeah,
We do not buy into the code name theory here.
I'm not
even
saying,
for Mathis.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
that's right. Good on you, Caleb.
I know we don't buy into the code name theory for Bond. I was just saying like that might be like his thing with Mathis. Like like the whole what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Not witness protection, but like maybe something similar like that, where he was good at this one thing for another agency, and then he came to MI6, and they gave him a whole new identity and everything, and just had him do the same thing he was doing for another
I
unit.
got you, man.
Yeah, I could buy that. One more thing about this scene, we can move on. But dude, the way Bond just gets his wallet out, grabs the cash out of his wallet, and just
Yeah.
throws
Well,
the wallet in the trash with.
I think he was trying to make it look like it was just a routine robbery,
Yeah, like he was mugged.
but at the same time, you got two dead cops over here.
Yeah, and also I think at this point Bond actually needed a little money, but it's just kind of like insult to injury, man. Like just seeing Bond take his belongings, steal his money, and then I don't know, man. It's just
It hurt.
It did hurt, but I also was like, maybe this was like Bond's way of coping with it. Like I don't know.
I don't think he's coping with it at all. I think he's like,
Well, I don't either.
now.
I don't well, I don't think he's coping with it well, but he tells Camille that he's like he wouldn't mind. But I feel like Bond's saying that just to make himself feel better.
No,
Yeah.
no, you're right. Yeah, that's just. I think that's him like justifying it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think so too.
after that, they go to the airfield, which I'm going to be honest with you. So that, Bond trades the car for the old airplane, and he tells Camille, he's like, well, he wanted you, but I gave him the car. And he's like, well, he'll make more whenever he sells us out. I mean, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Bond should have just killed that guy and stole the airplane. That would have been the best thing to do.
He must be feeling a little bad after having Mathis killed.
I mean-
he's like, you know what? I'm gonna.
Body count.
Yeah. But no, I do agree. It's like you killed everybody up until this point.
Yes, like he has literally killed every lead he could have. He just threw one of his good buddies into a dumpster. He could have killed this prick, and
the one guy that he knows is like 100% certain that it's gonna sell him out. He's like,
yeah. But anyway, I actually really like this next sequence with Bond in the airplane. You don't really get to see James Bond drive airplanes too much nowadays. I mean, I know in Spectre we got an airplane sequence, but I just think this is pretty unique. It's an old like cargo airplane, and just getting to see Bond drive something so old and decrepit, I like it. And then we get the little fighter plane come out of the, out of nowhere and chase him, and I like it. What do y'all think?
I'm sitting here kind of reliving that scene in my head, and I think for the most part, I think that choppy editing kind of works here. So I mean, it definitely adds to the chaotic feeling, which is what it would feel like being shot at in this old ass plane. That's looks like it's built out of sheet metal. So yeah, I think it's a pretty well executed action scene. Your turn, Colton. Go.
Man, the only thing I took out of it was super anxiety. I was like, why is this? I don't even like watching this because I'm super nervous because he can't find a parachute. Like it really bothers me. I'm just like, I know he's not gonna die, but I'm just like, oh my God, what are you doing, man? And then so the whole sequence happens and they like barely open their parachute and then like hit the ground. I'm like, that had to hurt. Also, the small plane was really cool.
Also,
I want to see Bond fly one of those too,
Yeah, that would have been really cool. I would really like that.
also Moonraker reference.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. It's a stretch.
Oh no, I don't. I think it's totally a Moonraker reference.
Okay. But they didn't land on a circus, so.
Oh yeah.
The plane, which I'm shocked you guys didn't ask, is a BMT. Wait a minute. BMT 2168. That's the. What am I reading?
License plate.
I know. Okay, it's a Douglas DC-3.
DC-3.
That means nothing to me.
Well,
I mean something to y'all. In our
You said
plane, our
DMC3?
plane enthusiast subscribers.
DC-3, Colton.
DC-3. Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you ask that. I'm sorry.
So did you guys mention what he had to do to get the plane?
Yeah, he
So-
traded the Range Rover.
Yeah. Did y'all talk about that? I missed that part.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I was
How the guy wanted the woman, wanted
Yeah.
Camille, but he gave her he gave him the car.
so like we established here that Bond may be an asshole, but he's not that much
That
of an
much of
asshole.
it.
But he's not heartless.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That car is worth way more than that plane.
So pretty much whenever they are down, they realize that Green's not after the oil; he's actually after the water. So this is kind of whenever we figure out the plot of the movie. And guys, honestly, I think this plot is pretty unique. What do you think
Yeah.
about it, Chef?
Well, if you think about a lot of them, they've always been after natural resources or trying to save the planet
Yeah.
kind of stuff, but control the masses at the same time. So
So what you're saying, Michelle, is this plot holds water?
exactly.
Oh, brother.
I saw you roll your eyes, John. I loved it.
Um, hey, Caleb, I remember in the Quantum of Solace video game when they're down in that sinkhole after they parachute, there's like a whole like firefight down there. You have to kill like a ton of people. And it's actually a pretty big gun battle down there. And then Bond's talking to Camille and he's like talking about, how he lost somebody and he has the flashbacks from Casino Royale. And that's how
right. Yeah.
that's how
Okay.
the game does it. So like half the game is Bond in that sinkhole reliving the events of Casino Royale to Camille, who's probably sitting there like, all right, dude, like
Well, to the developers' credit, they didn't really have a lot of
yeah, they didn't have a lot
to work with.
I mean,
but
honest to God, I actually think the game turned out pretty good.
oh yeah, for sure.
But anyway, so now that Bond knows what Green is going to do with the water, they go and they get on like an old tour, like a bus that is going around, which
How long they walked. She's walking
Oh,
barefoot on rocks. in
Was
the-
she barefoot?
She's
was she
wearing
actually barefoot?
shoes. So that would have
Ow!
like that bothers me as a woman. I know what it's like to walk in dress shoes and then she's holding them. So she's walking barefoot.
Look, when I was a kid, I run around barefoot all the time. So I'd like
I didn't do it now.
that's what I'm gonna say. Like when I was a kid, it didn't bother me at all. But now, if I step out onto my concrete porch, if I step on a little pebble, it's like it hurts so bad. So I can imagine walking that far.
Can't walk right for a week after that.
hey, Caleb, you could also say this is another callback to The Spy Who Loved Me. Remember when Bond and Anya Amasova walked through the desert? This is another.
It could be.
But so anyway, they get on the bus and go back to the hotel where M's pretty much like, all right, it's time to hang it up. You're done. And so Bond gets on actually they see the girl that's been covered in oil. What do y'all think about that?
Goldfinger reference.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it is. But
I was super pissed though. I'm not gonna lie. I really
Oh,
did like
dude.
Fields. That hurt.
What do you think about it, Sean?
I mean, definitely a Goldfinger reference there, but
Oh, obviously, but I mean, what
Yeah.
like guys, I mean, I know we all know it's a reference, but like, what do you think about it? Because I've met a lot of people that really hate this.
I think it's a Goldfinger reference.
But I think it's a reference to Goldfinger. No, seriously though, in all honesty, like it really pisses me off that we get Strawberry Fields for like the 20 minutes we get her, and like supposedly she was innocent and everything else, like she was just somebody doing her job. Bond just has a small fling with her. She's trying to do the right thing, and then she's killed off screen.
Yep.
They should have showed her get captured. They should have done something more with her character, done like the service to the actress.
I agree, but it kind of it kind of illustrates just how ruthless Quantum is. It's like
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
yeah. Maybe I would have felt better. I don't know. No, I wouldn't have felt better about her dying, but like Yeah.
If they had done anything more to make her more likable, I would have been even more pissed. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I even want that or not, even though I said it.
They, yeah, well, they just don't telegraph it at all. Like you don't. It's just totally out of left field. It came as a total shock to me when I first watched it.
Oh yeah,
But I do like. Oh, I forgot to mention this when Bond and Camille walk into the lobby of that hotel. The guy who greets them, I guess he's like the hotel manager, is just like okay with them being filthy from head to toe, standing in that nice lobby. um, but I like the dialogue between M and Bond here. She's basically calling him out. She's like, "You see how well your charm works? Like, how many is this now?" And when she said that, I was like, ow.
Yeah, that was kind of a bitch thing for her to do, you know?
No, but dude, like,
Like,
she's pretty much like, why the hell do you keep doing this, James?
well, I mean, you got to think in universe, Bond had literally just lost Vesper like a week ago. Like, you know, like,
yeah,
That and he had just got what's his face's wife killed on the beach.
yeah.
He didn't sleep with her.
oh yeah. I think it was just his girlfriend, but yeah, you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about the
Solange.
girl who was in the yeah.
Like that was Spectre or Quantum or whatever too. Like same result within 2 weeks time or whatever. So he's just racking them bodies up.
Yeah. That's kind of goes back to what Jonathan was saying about Bond is kind of learning. You said his arc was to quit being reckless, but I think what it really winds up being is Bond just kind of maybe he just learns to focus his recklessness a little better. But this is a good example of him just sleeping with whoever, you know, and not
He's
really
probably gonna die.
not really considering the consequences.
So we get Bond being put in the elevator with several MI6 agents, and he like pretty much promptly just takes them all out right then and there.
He Jason Bournes his way out of that
Yes.
elevator.
And
As
like
one should.
I mean, he doesn't even he's still got his handcuffs on, doesn't he? Or is
Yeah.
he still tied when he's doing that, right?
Yes. And I love that line where he's like, before we get started, does anybody want to get out? Come on, Colton.
Captain
Damn
Driver.
it. Okay.
I can't even speak. That's a Captain America reference. So
But
I don't
yeah. Go ahead.
I don't think this fight is anywhere as good as that Captain America fight, but really, really good.
Yeah, I love the fight scene. And I love Bond's escape. I love seeing him like jump across that rail and
Yeah, and then
scaling
like
the
kind of like walk across the thing. But
and then
you know, he tells him, you know, he's like, you know, I want you to write in your report that, you know, Miss Fields demonstrated a lot of courage or whatever, you know.
she showed true bravery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to say I liked where he walked across the thing or whatever. But my favorite thing about that fight was when he kicked dude's foot back in there.
Oh yeah.
Like that, like this is him being an asshole.
Wait, no. His hands weren't cuffed anymore. He could have reached down there with his hand because when the elevator door opens, he's
Racking the slide.
sliding the rack on that gun. Yeah, I really like this whole sequence.
Yeah, it's great.
And you sort of get the feeling that well, M is sort of like she's doing this because she has to. Like there's a scene that occurred before this where she's like we're seeing her have to answer to the people above her, and I get where she's coming from because she keeps telling Bond to quit killing people. She's told him to come in like twice. And she's like, okay, for real this time, or I'm gonna get fired. So, yeah, even though, and she tells Tanner like he's my agent and I trust him, but
Well, she even kind of warns Bond about what's about to go down because she said, when you can't tell your friends from your enemies, it's time to go. And she kind of says it very surely of herself and looks directly at him. And then that's right before he gets in the elevator with those guys and gets loose.
So
Oh, okay, yeah.
also sorry, I was reading something. Did you guys talk about the note?
Oh no, we did not.
We didn't.
Okay, so like I was confused about the note because at first I thought the note was from Strawberry, but the note is from M, right?
No.
I think it's probably from Fields, is what I always thought.
Yeah, because the hotel manager or whatever it is says your wife left
Wow, the English lady.
Okay,
left a
okay.
note for you.
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
And look, I'm not saying that that kind of relationship is. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it's more believable that Bond will be married to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just didn't hear the wife part. That's on me. I thought he said like the young lady or something. So
Okay, okay.
my bad. My bad. Also shouldn't be a young lady. So again, my bad. I need to pay more attention.
I like how the scene coming up is pretty much just the same scene from earlier, but with a different shittier car. Sorry, Colin.
You know what it
It
should have been? It should have been the yellow Citroen from For Your Eyes Only.
What a
I'm-
missed
I'm
opportunity, man.
Well, like Michelle said last night when we were watching it, she was like, "That actually reminds me of the one where the little yellow car was in it." And I was like, "Yeah, I get it." You know,
What a missed opportunity. That would have been, or I don't know, would it have been too much? Nah,
well,
think
I don't know. It might have been a little bit.
No, it would have been too much if she'd pulled up in a white Lotus and then it blew up.
Yeah. So Bond also gets in touch with old Felix Leiter, meets up with them, and Bond gets away from the CIA, who are pretty much crashing the party. But Felix tells him, "Listen, before anything can happen, dude's got to pay off the military and the police, and they're going to do that in the hotel, right?" So that's how Bond figures out where that's going to go down, which leads us after Bond has the little get away from the escape from the CIA. They wind up at the hotel. So earlier, Caleb talked about how Bond jumps down and kills the guy that that was friends with Mathis. Man, I love that kill. So glad that dude gets it.
Oh yeah, it's one of those very satisfying, well-deserved kills.
And also, even before that happened, we see General Madrano and the chief of police talking, and Dominic Green comes and has the money, and then we kind of get we're kind of shown what Dominic Green wants out of this, which is 60% of, he pretty much says, "Hey, I own 60% of the water supply of your country now." And the guy's like, "I'm not going to sign this. It's triple what we're paying already." And Dominic Green's like, "Okay, well, go ahead and kill me. But if you do that, you're going to wake up in the morning and your balls are going to be in your mouth, and there's going to be somebody to replace you." So
at this point, I would believe him.
yeah, I mean, because you know what Quantum and Quantum is pretty much Spectre by proxy. You know what they're capable of. So yes, even though Dominic Green is a slime ball, I totally believe him at this moment. And obviously General Madrano does too, because he signs it over and everything is done. So of course, at this time, Bond is doing what we were just talking about. He kills the guy and assaults the hotel. And man, I love these scenes of Bond shooting his way. Like he gets down on the ground and he's shooting people's their legs, because they're standing and using doors as their cover,
Yeah.
Bond's on the ground shooting them. Then he's running and he's taking car doors and, crashing them into people. Man, like
It's rough.
It's rough. And like, it just really shows just like how much of a, I mean, for lack of better words, just how much of a badass James Bond is.
I love when we get to see Bond using the environment, like you mentioned, the corridors and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Or whenever he's, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, whenever he's fighting Dominic Green and he uses the fire, like the
Yep.
fire hose door, and he uses it, like, man, like, I love that. That's
Because it's like it's one of those things where you have to be in the exact right spot at the exact right moment, and just to be able to think that quick to yeah.
But man, like General Madrano is really a piece of work, man. Like this, and like I was trying to think, whenever I was watching this movie last night, I was like, man, they don't really talk about rape too much in Bond movies, do they? I mean, I don't. I mean, I know in License to Kill, Felix's wife was raped, but that's not
They
something that's brought up too much.
they kind of make some references to it in The World Is Not Enough, which we later find out isn't entirely true.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because okay. But
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 here,
this is like full on,
like
it's
we are really
happening.
watching
It's
it.
happening. Yeah.
And I was like kind of taken aback. I was like, man, I guess I just didn't realize we don't ever see this. I think that is the only movie to actually show it, and it's implied that it's happening,
This movie's kind of dark.
Yeah. What do you think about the show?
Yeah, that was the disgustingest, like the worst part of the whole
Yeah.
movie was him showing who he really is.
Yes.
And I think that sets you up to sympathize with Camille.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. At this point in the movie, I like Dominic Green more than I do Madrano. Like at this point in the movie, I'm like, Bond, just leave dude, go down there, put a bullet through Madrano's skull, do it, before he rapes either of these women, like. But anyway, while Camille is fighting Madrano, we get Bond and Dominic Green fight, and I really like it. I mean, I know I've already talked about it earlier, but I love this fight scene.
I don't know if you guys have ever used an axe, or like a wood splitter or anything. You guys ever cut wood?
Yeah.
So like, have you guys ever accidentally hit yourself in the foot?
I have not, no. But
Man, I hit myself in the boot one time, and I thought I about messed up. So the fact that this movie goes in depth of like that sliding in between his toes, you know how bad that had to hurt. Like, especially since he had to do what?
you're talking to somebody who's had a recent foot injury, so it's
Oh yeah, Ka-chow.
Kerchow.
But like, this isn't really touched on, but like, then he goes walking through the desert. Like after that,
Yeah.
he's getting dirt, dirt, blood, sweat, everything up in that, and it hurt bad. So
Yeah.
It's just gotta hurt.
So yeah, I got some stuff to say about the scene too. But so M says that they found him with 2 bullet holes in the back of his skull, right?
Yeah.
It's
Spectre,
Quantum
right?
or Spectre,
Quantum.
right? Yeah. They killed him, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I think.
I was gonna say like that injury would have gotten gangrenous anyway. So
They drank the motor oil too, so
and the motor oil. So, but this entire sequence, like starting with the fight scene, which Jonathan you talked plenty about. I'll just say it's well executed, and then you got the scene of Bond. Oh God, I forgot about that line that Green says to Bond where we hear the gunshot go off, and he says, "Sounds like you lost another one." Dude,
That's rough, ain't it?
the look on Craig's face is just like,
I can't believe you said that shit.
no, well, yeah, like what I took from it was like, I was gonna kill you, but now I kind of want to see you hurt.
Yeah.
But this whole sequence is just done really well, I think. Like the editing and everything, the cinematography. I bitched about the editing at the very beginning, but so far there are places where I think it sucks, but I guess it's better to talk about the things that I like. So it works here. The cinematography, the color grading, and all that. Like, it's just this movie looks really good.
The set
I'll leave
design,
it at that. Set design, yes.
Yeah.
like it's phenomenal.
Yeah, this
Like,
is like Ken Adam level of set
Yeah.
design.
Yeah. So I real quick, I thought this was a hotel. I guess it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Why is it abandoned?
Why is it in the middle of nowhere?
I
And
didn't
why
know
is
it
it
was a
powered by
hotel.
these fuel cells?
Like, there's so many questions here. Like, what is going on? Like,
One of the I think it's the chief of police or captain.
yeah, he says like it's a pain in the ass, really. Like,
Yeah, and then I just imagined General Madrano going, "Yeah, it is kind of a pain in the ass. I really hope this doesn't set up a climactic action sequence in the third act."
well, I mean, even I think it's General Madrano says that sounds really unstable.
Yeah,
He even
yeah.
says that. Like, but
But it does make for a great action sequence.
yeah. So of course, I mean, Caleb's already talked about it. Bond leaves Green in the middle of the desert to basically because Bond already knows, hey, these guys know you told me, you know, told me about them. They're gonna kill you,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna leave you here to die. And here's some motor oil, and I bet you make it 20 miles before you think about that.
He should, dude. He shouldn't have said that shit to Bond.
He
Uh,
messed up for sure.
so after that, now this next scene where Bond is in Russia and he's meeting Yusuf and Corrine. I don't know if any of you guys have read 007 in New York. Have you guys read that short story?
I don't think so.
Well, this is the only time that we really get that short story being put into a movie. But in that story, Bond is in New York and he's waiting to talk to a Canadian intelligence officer
Oh.
because she has been in a relationship unknowingly with a Soviet spy.
Okay.
And he's trying to tell her this. And in this scene, we get Bond in Russia basically telling a Canadian intelligence officer that she's in a relationship with a quantum agent. Pretty much Yusuf is a quantum honey trap. And honey trap is like basically someone who uses sex as a weapon. See, this guy is the same dude that did, that played Vesper.
Yes.
He's now moving on. And we see Bond with the Algerian love knot.
Which he notices that girl is wearing one.
Literally wearing. So
the one that he drops in the snow, I take it he's been carrying that around. That was Vespers.
That was Vespers.
Yeah.
And what you were talking about earlier, Caleb, the arc, Bond does leave Yusuf to be arrested. He does not kill him, which M even expresses a little bit of surprise for,
Yeah.
And we leave Bond saying, I never left. Whenever she says, I need you back, and Bond says, I never left, and that's it. And we get the gun barrel, and then we get the credits. And one of the songs that plays on the credits, I really like. It's a piano song. It's called, I think, Crawl, I believe is the name of it. Some of my videos on my channel use it in the background. I really like it. You guys need to listen to it. It's lovely.
I know I've heard it, but I can't think of it right now.
I can't.
Yeah, because last night when I watched it, I meant to actually sit and watch through the credits because we get the Bond theme, which
was not at all in the movie.
And that's I had this thought too. So in any of the Craig movies, do we ever get a proper Bond theme like in a scene or?
Whenever he's walking into the building after the car chase, is there not like an electric guitar sort of like rendition of the Bond thing?
I don't think that's the Bond theme though. I think it's just like a instrumental version of Another Way to
Maybe I'm
Die.
just forgetting it.
I thought there was one like in the boat chase too, just a little bit of instrumental in the back.
Maybe,
I
yeah,
gotta go
mixed
back and look.
in.
I'm pretty
You're
sure
probably right.
Go ahead.
I was just saying she's probably right, but what we don't get is like a bombastic, like triumphant Bond theme after a big action set piece like we used to get.
Yeah, you're right.
It's
I want to know what you guys think about the title of the film. Like,
Okay,
how
go ahead. I'm sorry.
how do you guys feel about like what it means? Like, obviously, like with Quantum, like, but what do you guys feel like the tone of the movie and the point of the movie in relation to the title?
So, have you read the short story Quantum of Solace, Colton?
I did not know there was a short story, Quantum of
Yeah.
Solace.
There is.
yeah. So
Okay.
at this point, I think Rosico is in Property of a Lady are the only two titles left. Is that right?
Yeah, and 007 in New York.
Ah, yeah.
So, the short story Quantum of Solace has nothing to do with this movie. They took the name of the short story like literally last minute. It doesn't have much to do with the movie. But like I would attempt to explain it, but like there is a much better, like if you just read the short story Quantum of Solace, you will get what it means. Like, I mean, it's literally in the story. I mean, I don't really think it has much to do with the movie at all. What do you think, Colton?
I never had a problem with this title really, but now I do agree that it doesn't have a lot to do with the movie other than Quantum, and then Bond, I guess, gets Solace at the end of the movie.
That's you took the words out of my mouth. That's about as much as I feel about it too.
But now, go ahead, Colton.
No, you go ahead. Finish your talk, Kel. You're fine.
Some Bond themes just don't really have, or some Bond titles don't really have a lot to do with the movie anyway. So I think it's okay. I never had a problem with this title.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. It's just
Well, I did not like the title. I thought Another Way to Die would have been a more
I
like,
agree. I thought the same thing.
it just sounds cooler, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
And
I think that
whole die thing. I mean, so many of them are die something.
Yeah.
So I thought that would have been a cooler name, but then like on a whim, I decided to Google like the individual words of the title. And did you guys know that "of" means a part of something? I'm just kidding.
No.
But no, but you get so like with quantum, the definition for quantum. Are you okay, Caleb?
It's so
it's
stupid.
like that was some of the dumbest mess I'd ever heard.
I got something way dumber. Just wait.
No, but quantum is says a discrete quantity of energy proportional in magnitude to the frequency of the radiation it represents, or a required or allowed amount, especially.
Damn it, man! English.
So it's like a small portion of it, a quantum,
Okay.
whatever. So like if you take a quantum and then of solace, like at the end of this movie, like Bond gets a little bit of solace.
Yeah, that's what I always
So
got.
In-
Thank
in
you for
the Fleming
confirming what I thought.
Sorry, Caleb.
Well, no. Seriously, because I never knew if what I thought was right.
So in the Fleming short story, what Fleming says Quantum of Solace is basically the amount of respect you have to have for your partner. And now, I mean, guys, I'm paraphrasing here because it's been a minute since I've read that story, okay? But pretty much what he's saying is that's like you got to have a quantum of solace, and if you don't achieve the quantum of solace, then your relationship's not going to work out. The short story Quantum of Solace is literally it's James Bond listening to a government bureaucrat tell a story about two other people.
Okay.
I mean, literally Bond is just listening through the whole story. It's just him being told a story at a dinner party.
Okay, so like, do you get his inner monologue or anything, or just?
I mean, I don't really think so.
Okay.
maybe a little bit after he listened to the whole story.
Yeah.
But like, it's kind of like, okay, have you guys ever read The Spy Who Loved Me book?
No, I have
I
not.
don't think so.
Okay, well, that is a experimental Fleming piece where it's coming from the perspective of a woman. Well, Quantum of Solace is another experimental Fleming piece where it's James Bond being told a story by someone else about two other people, and Bond is literally just like the vehicle of the story being transferred to the reader.
Okay. That's interesting.
It's a really cool way to construct a story.
Yeah. I've heard a third person, not sixth person.
But I mean, I think all of Fleming's writing deserves to be read. Quantum of Solace is one of my least favorite Bond stories, but I do not hate it. It's just, I mean, it's just one of those. It's not okay. As a Bond fan, I would say every Bond story is essential. But if you were literally just wanting to know the highlights, it's not essential to read. But of course, to me, everything's essential. You know, the whole kit and caboodle, as they say. But anyway, um, I will say this about this movie. I didn't realize how much I liked this movie. Like, I've never been one to hate on it, but like, I actually quite really like this movie. I quite like it a bit, like a lot. What about you?
Me too. I mean, I watched it yesterday and today, so I did like it.
This movie, like Mark Foster, the guy that directed the movie, said that he wanted it to be like a bullet, and I think he achieved that with it. Like, it is definitely a bullet. I do think that he had some very pretentious scenes in the movie where he tried to do some things that just did not work out.
Yeah.
But I think that some things did work out, and I happen to really like this movie. I would actually say that I like it over a few of the Daniel Craig Bond movies. I would much rather watch this than No Time to Die. I think it's a better movie. Like,
I think that's a given.
now I know my wife does not agree, but I'm sorry I said what I said. um, any closing remarks on Quantum, Caleb Mabry?
I'm with you. Like, it seems like every time I watch this movie, I'm able to take away something that makes me like it even more. And I think a lot of what makes me like it is what comes after it. So, Spectre, No Time to Die. So, but this movie has like really good cinematography. I probably mentioned a couple of shots during the podcast that they're just like really gorgeous to look at. The problem is you don't get to look at them. They're on screen for like half a second.
Yeah, half a second.
Yeah, but it moves at a breakneck pace. It is like a bullet, and it could be to this movie's detriment at times because like I feel like they could have let some of the action sequences breathe, and
Yeah.
you know, but I like it. I like this movie a lot. I think it works best watching it pretty close proximity with Casino Royale.
Agreed.
But yeah, I think it can be enjoyed anytime. But if you really want to get the most out of it, I would watch Casino Royale and then put this on immediately after.
Colton?
My question is, Jonathan, did you mean like a bullet as in like a quick just movie, or did you mean like a reference to like Steve McQueen and Bullet?
Oh, dude. When Bond walks out of the hotel after it blows up, he looks just like Steve McQueen. Daniel Craig looks
like McQueen, like for sure. Period.
Yes, I agree. He looks like Steve McQueen anyway, but in that black outfit, like, and maybe some of the dirt is like distorting his face in a way, but like he looks just like Steve McQueen in that shot.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I agree for sure.
Okay, if this movie were to come out during the Mesozoic period, is that when the dinosaurs were around? Is that how you pronounce it? Yay or nay? No,
Mesozoic,
okay. Mesozoic. Sorry. Do you know what it would have been called?
Rar.
Quantum of Solace.
Was that your bad joke you've been saving the whole time?
Was it. I told you I had something dumber.
It's okay, man. I deserved that from earlier.
Dude, okay, so Michelle, you make the thumbnails for these videos, right?
I haven't made the last few. He's been doing it. But yeah,
Well, every one of y'all.
we can.
Find a dinosaur.
We'll
Just
do.
go on Google Images, find a stock photo of a damn dinosaur, throw it in Microsoft Paint, Photoshop a tuxedo on it, and make the title Quantosaurus.
Okay.
You guys should just like take the baby dinosaur from that Disney show Dinosaurs, put his face on Daniel Craig in the shot where he's hanging from the rope with the gun. That is be it. But
Do you have any last words to say about this movie?
No, I'm good.
so before we leave today, I would like to bring up some news, some Star Wars news, if that's okay. Since people that listen to this podcast like video games, they like the 007 games, Daniel Craig was in Star Wars. There are Star Wars fans that listen to this podcast. I want you guys to know Disney is having them bring back Battlefront 1 and 2 for PS4 and PS5.
I saw that.
They're opening the online servers, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a big hit for a lot of fans. So if you guys didn't know, it's going to be a big deal.
I'm getting that shit.
Me too, man. Next month.
Something I want to say, we actually had two people that died in the Bond film
Jesus
world.
Christ.
That was the road less taken.
Colton, who was that guy that you sent me a Facebook thing about?
I'll look on Facebook and see who it was, because we did need to mention him.
And also the woman that played Moneypenny in Never Say Never Again. Let me make sure I've got her name right. And that would be Pamela Salem. She played Moneypenny in Never Say Never Again. She died the other day. So RIP to her. And Colton, do you know the man's name?
So Alec Mills, he was a cinematographer. He worked on 5 Bond films. He worked on Her Majesty's Secret Service, The Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker, For Your Eyes Only, and Octopussy. That was before he took the director of photography role on The Living Daylights and License to Kill. He passed away at the age of 91.
Dude.
That's weak.
I think I had something to say about the cinematography, and maybe I didn't talk about all of them, but in most of those movies, especially Spy Who Loved Me, and especially Her Majesty's Secret Service, dude, those are great looking movies.
Yes.
He was that guy, apparently.
Man.
It's a shame that he passed.
That's a shame.
But so if you made it this far, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share us, get us to 200 subscribers. All right, we're at 195. Let's get up there to 200. All right.
Oh heck yeah! All right, hey, if you get to 200 subscribers for our Skyfall podcast, I will have a cake right here in celebration.
Will you smash your head into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys, it's on.
Share the pod. Let everybody know.
I didn't think about it until just happened. Yeah, if that encourages you guys to subscribe, then fuck me.
If he does that, then I'll watch the Jason Bourne movies.
Well, all right, guys. It's been a blast. Thanks for coming on. And thank you for listening/watching. And next week, we will be back with Skyfall, which I have not seen in it's been at least a year. So I'm actually kind of excited to watch it and see if it is good as everybody says it is. So this is Jonathan and
Michelle
Lynham signing off.
Colton Lynham signing off.
Shout out Aunt Kathy.
Shout out Kathy. Later, boys.
Adios.
Stay crunk.
Yes. Oh.